Happy Migraine Awareness Month, everyone. I hope you're enjoying all the bloggers and podcasters and Insta influencers, I think is the word that we've been talking to throughout Migraine Awareness Month. Today, I'm talking to Tia O'Hare. She has a really great site, podcast, and on Insta. It's all about living with an invisible injury. Thank you for joining us, Tia.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so you have chronic migraine and you had a lot of concussions that made things a lot worse. Of course, people with migraine are more susceptible to concussion. It can be a bit of a problem. So tell us your story.
I first started having migraine attacks around the age of 10, and it was pretty occasional. I would only have about, one every month or so, and I really didn't think anything of it. And then as I started getting older, they started getting a little bit more frequent. But then once I was 15, I had two concussions within 4 months of each other. And those were pretty major. And I had a really hard time recovering from those injuries. And after that, that's when I began my journey with chronic migraine. I first started having daily headaches, and then it kind of progressed into daily migraine attacks. And that time in my life was really hard as the symptoms was getting more and more progressive, and I was getting more symptoms, feeling, dizziness and just more than a headache.
Mm-hmm.
As migraine is more than a headache, but it was really difficult. And yeah, that's just kind of my journey with how I am now. I'm a little bit better than where I was,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still a struggle for me today.
Yeah, sure. So how did you go from the point of being a patient to advocating about both concussion and migraine online? What was the progression like?
Well, after I was sure. So after I was diagnosed with chronic migraine, I was having about 28-ish migraine attacks a month, and I just felt so alone. Was having so much pain, and I felt like I had tried everything natural, pharmacological, and I just felt like I had lost all hope. I had given up, and I knew that I didn't want anyone to feel the pain that I was going through, especially with the concussions. That was really hard. And so at first, that's what I was going to do. I was going to talk about concussions. So I kind of jumped online, first started searching, concussions and migraine and headaches and that kind of thing. And I figured, hey, maybe I can talk to people about this. Maybe I can reach out to people. And so, me, I kind of wanted to turn my story into reaching other people because I just really didn't want others to suffer alone because I had suffered alone for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And for so long, I was someone who kind of hid my pain from everyone because I didn't want that burden on other people.
Mm.
So I started to, do the podcast and then, go and post on Instagram, and I've been able to, reach out to so many amazing people.
So
So
which
yeah.
came first, Instagram or the podcast?
I kind of started them right at the same time, but I was
Okay.
more active on the podcast, I would say, first.
And that's your preferred channel. That's like your happy place, the podcast.
I love both, to be honest, because
Okay.
I can chat with, so many amazing people on Instagram, but then I can also just say kind of whatever I want, what's on my heart with my voice on the podcast.
Hmm. It's a really great kind of mix, I think, to
Yeah.
have both the visual and the audio. All right. So, what would be your tip for anybody that was thinking about starting up their own Insta channel or podcast?
I would say do what you want at your own pace and be comfortable with what you want to share, but don't be afraid to share it. Like start it now, I was so scared to share it. I kind of held back for so long. I kind of held back for about a year. But once I started it, I didn't regret it. It was the best decision I've ever made. I've been able to, reach a lot of people, and I've been able to help a lot of people. Other podcasters and other migraine advocates have been really helpful for me. And so I would just say it doesn't have to be perfect, but share your story, because the more people that share their story with migraine, the more awareness we bring.
Did you have someone supporting you to put the podcast together, or did you do it all yourself?
I did it by myself.
That's pretty cool. All righty. Thank you very much, Tia, for talking to us, and have a happy Migraine Awareness Month.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.